Hello and good afternoon, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. I'm doing a divine masculine update with regards to his energies, of course, in the twin flame journey. But this layout of the card, the questions over here are a little bit different than what I have been doing in the previous times. I will be continuing with those two. But this is a reading from the 6th of June to the 16th of June 2019 with regards to his actual energies. It's everything combined. It's the 3D, it's the 5D, it's all the energies that we have in ourselves which is happening to us, and it's happening to us not only from the 3D but also from the 5D as well, guys. Okay, now, divine feminines, this is a reading for you as well to know what is happening internally, externally, in every respect. Now, I have the nine set of cards in here which I will talk about as I go along the way. But to start off with, I have the oracle card for him as well, for the divine masculine, at this point in time with regards to his overall self and whatever is happening in his situation. It's an action card, guys. It's an action card in this deck which says, or which is giving him the guidance to break the chain right now. Okay, by breaking the chain, what they are telling him, what the universe is telling him, is breaking of the ancestral patterns, breaking of everything that he has been or he had been holding in himself, knowing and believing that those are the right things that he has been asking for from the universe. But now, with all the changes, with all the transmissions, with all the transitions, it's time for him to break the old pattern, to break the chain, which is his ancestral patterns that he had learned earlier on, his value system that he had thought was the right one, his morals, his teachings, everything that he had in himself, that he had learned while he was growing up by observing, by hearing, by seeing the patterns in his home, in his family. But it's time to break away from that, to heal himself and to rewrite his own future. So it's telling him ancestral patterns, healing, and rewriting the future, ladies. Okay, so it's time. The divine is giving him the guidance to come out of the place that he had been sitting in for way too long, to understand himself better, to know what works for him, to give birth to himself, and to rewrite his own future. So, with this card in here, the action card in here, the divine masculine is being called to heal the family line and free himself from living the life of his ancestors that he had been previously doing, because he had known nothing better. So, what he had learned, what he had seen, what he had assumed, what he had experienced, what he had presumed he thought was right, is now for him time to break free from all those. Okay? Now, this could also mean that letting go of an old pattern, as I told you, of the maternal and the paternal family tree that he has seen, healing trauma from the past that he had seen while he was growing up, that kind of was, in him implanted as a seed that had grown over the years. And he had nourished and fertilized that tree, the thought, the belief in himself. And unfortunately, all those experiences, the past traumas, everything actually did not belong to him. It was from somebody else that he had seen, he had learned, and he had thought that was what it was, all about it. Okay, and he had been observing the old ways of being, of who he was, that can no longer serve him going from here onwards. So basically, with this card, ladies, it tells you and it tells the divine masculine is that we carry the emotional trauma in ourselves, for up to 7 generations. Okay, that is how it works. 7 generations back. So basically, it's a karma that he now has to break free from. So this karma has been persisting in his zone from the last 7 generations that he has come into this planet, Earth, and has gone back from here. Okay, so it's time in this generation, in this lifetime, all the divine masculines that I'm tapping into, it's for them to break free from that past 7 generations. But it is also, remember, it is also one of the family patterns because it's so long lasting. 7 generations is not a joke, ladies. So to break free from that past karma is the hardest. It's very difficult to break, and often the worst part is, or the funny part I should say, is often that karma is not even our own doing, but because we are in that family group, we are in that clan where spirit wanted us to belong to for the past 7 generations, we are carrying the karma, or we are carrying the burden of all those past 7 generations of people who have come into his life and gone, guys. Okay, but we do not know another way of actually doing things, and this is for the divine masculine because he believed that this karma is his and he has to live with that because he has known nothing better. And so we continue to play out the drama in our lives in the present times because we are so kind of bound to that karma of the past 7 generations that we do not want to, not that we do not want to, but it's difficult for us to come out of it. And that's exactly what the divinity is now telling him, that your karma is coming to an end. Whatever the past 7 generations have done, that is coming to an end. It's time to move forward, to heal, to break the pattern, to rewrite your own future. But please remember that when this karma is to break free, and that he is doing at this point in time, this ancestral healing part of the story comes up. It is very difficult for him now to heal anybody else because he's doing his own self healing. And it's a very, very difficult process, guys. So it's time for him to self heal. It's time for you, divine feminine, to give him that space, the break, because he's doing that self healing work. And this moment, at this point, he cannot heal anybody else. Because your own healing, uh, what it is that if he tries to heal somebody else, that other person will take that energy from him and will heal themselves, but this person, the divine masculine, will not be able to heal completely. So it's very important for him to keep that energy preserved, reserved only for himself, so that he can break free from that pattern to heal, to rejuvenate, and to rewrite his own future. Unfortunately or fortunately, he cannot share this healing process even with you, divine feminine, because this energy is to be freed up. And he is being guided now to look at his life and decide how he wants it to be. Okay? What ways of beings or patterns is he ready to free himself from? And what part of the future does he want to rewrite? Now is the time to shake them off and dream a new future into the being, into the 3D and the 5D, guys. And that is exactly what it is with the divine masculine at this point in time with regards to him healing, breaking the chain, breaking the 7 generations of the past karma, to heal, to rewrite the future. But at this point in time, ladies, he cannot share it with you. He cannot give you any emotions. He cannot give you any love at this point, because you have to wait for that to happen. Let him finish rewriting the future. Let him decide how he wants to break the ancestral pattern. Let him decide how and what he wants to write for the future. Let him heal by himself. It's very important. And if you guys are in separation, Divine Feminine, please don't get scared. Please don't panic, because universe has moved you away at this point in time, because universe is working only for him, and universe wants him to work only for him. Nobody else can be in his zone at this point, because it's time for him and him alone, guys. Okay, and this is a very important oracle card. We will keep this on the side at this point in time, and we will look into the other energies as we go along the reading with the 9 set of cards. I've got my clarifiers in here, and we will take the clarifiers as and when it comes to the point. But please remember this guidance. So don't feel that you are being neglected, you are being ignored, or he is neglecting or ignoring you at this point in time. No, he is doing that healing, and it's very important for him to have that free space, that free energy, because he needs to free himself from whatever that had been keeping him on hold and tying him down. The karma of the past 7 generations is not very easy for him to break, but he is doing that. So, and give him the time, give him that space, give him that energy, send him the vibration, send him the frequency, send him your prayers if you can. But don't tamper in his space at this moment. That would be my guidance to you, Divine Feminine. Now, having said this, internally, what is he feeling? What does he understand internally? He's got the 4 of coins, and he has got the 9 of cups in the reverse in here, guys. Now, with these 2 cards in here, he understands now, because he's doing the healing. It's a long process. It's going to take him some time. It might take him 2 months, it might take him 3 months, but it will take him some time. You have to wait patiently. I would say give him time till September, October. That is the amount of time he will need to come back to his own self. But right now he understands in his internal self, guys, the Divine Feminine. He understands the story well. Okay, he understands that whatever, even the old patterns, everything, his own future patterns that he thought was right, his self-belief, his belief, his traditions, his understanding, his sacred knowledge, whatever that he had been holding on to, guarding that, preserving that, taking care of that, not letting it out, not throwing it off, but kind of taking control of that, trying to put band-aid over lost situations, but still guarding and preserving that area. That he understands today has not brought him his 9 cups of happiness. There has been no joy. There has been no fulfillment. Even when he was guarding, he had no wish fulfillment. He had nothing. He only had disappointment. He had smugness. He had discomfort. He had unhappiness. He had no joy, even with all the guarding internally, more so that he did for such a long period in time. Today he understands, because he is slowly breaking free. He understands that whatever he had been doing for so long, whatever things he had been preserving, taking care of, guarding them, protecting that, has not brought his 9 of cups. In fact, the 9 of cups has never come to him. He has been left out in the cold. He has been disappointed. He has been traumatized. He has never healed. People have trampled over him, used and abused him in many ways. So nothing, no joy, no happiness, nothing. But at the same time, he understands that today that it was such a big mistake, that whatever he had been guarding, whatever he had been preserving, conserving, that he thought that one day or the other would give him the benefit of the Nine of Cups happiness, is today turned into a complete mishap. Okay, nothing has come into him. Nothing. Zero, if you can take it from me. So he is a cold person. He is a bitter person. He is a disappointed person. He is a smugged person. He's everything but happy. Okay, but joyful. So that he has understood in the internal self, guys, that it's been a long process for him to have come to this point of realization, but finally he has. Finally he has. And today he realizes that, oh my God, what a fool I have been. What have I done to this? Where did how could I have not seen this? How did I not think about it? How did I not understand or have the wisdom to look into the bigger picture? Because I was so busy conserving my people, conserving my little clout of people, my thinking, that they are the guys or they are the community that will give me my happiness, my joy, my fulfillment. But nothing happened. While I kept guarding them, while I kept protecting myself, while I kept protecting them, while I kept everything in the right, I tried to put everything in the right place. But unfortunately, the end result was a big zero. I got nothing out of it, guys. Okay. Now, instead of taking a clarifier here, I will take an after tarot here, guys. I've got my deck shuffled up in here on the side. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm going to use an after tarot at this point in time, and today with the Five of Pentacles in the reverse, guys, for the after tarot with his self-realization, he has understood that there was never any give or take relationship here. He has been left out in the cold. He's trying to shake that feeling off, but at the same time, he never had any generosity from those he had been guarding and protecting throughout his entire life. Okay, so now he is coming to the point of understanding the Five of Pentacles in the reverse. He's trying to come out of that. He's trying to break free from that feeling cold, being left out, poor, being left out in the dark, in the cold, in the under the shivering snow. That snow is all over the place, the icy cold wind, everything. But all the people that he had been protecting for so long had failed to protect him. They failed. They completely failed, miserably failed. Okay, and it's in the reverse, guys, but it's the same story that now he's trying to look up. He's trying to break free. He's trying to come out of that place of feeling cold, because he has realized that for so long it was only him who had been doing all the work of giving and not receiving anything back in return except for the feeling of being left out in the cold. So now, with this internal self, this is the after tarot, guys. He's come to the point of realization that he needs to walk away from that pattern. He needs to break free to rewrite his own future. He cannot hold on to that feeling of being left out in the cold anymore. He cannot hold on to the feeling of being poor. Not poor financially, maybe for everybody, but being poor emotionally, psychologically, mentally, physically, anything. So he's trying to shake that pattern off. He wants to come out in the sunlight. He wants to go ahead. He wants the equal give and take relationships to rewrite his own future. So internally, he is working a lot, guys. He's doing a lot of work internally at this point in time, okay? Now, his external self in the external self, he's the Hierophant. Okay, so again, externally, he's still learning, guys. He's picking up everything, he's picking up all the vibrations. He's getting an understanding of what he has been doing so far, and what is happening around him. With his understanding, with his knowledge, with his ideas, with his mind, his heart, his body, his soul, his spirit, he's trying to regain back and understand, you know, externally when he sees people, externally when he's communicating with people, he's picking up their vibes. He's understanding through his experience, he's maturing, he has matured to the point of becoming an hierophant here. So he's getting the knowledge that whatever internally is happening, it's the same story that he has probably earlier on had failed to see. But now he is learning to see. He's learning through his traditions, through the old patterns that he's breaking free. He's confirming his belief, he's confirming his internal belief of breaking free. Because, externally he had been perhaps a very moral person, wanted to do good stuff for people, but he wanted to believe in the ethics. Externally, he still wants to believe in the moral and ethics. He wants people to understand him as he understands them. But he is also picking up the vibrations of this understanding as to how far it is important for me to understand everybody. But at the same time, think about breaking away from the patterns to rewrite my own future. Okay, he's using, because this is a masculine energy of the Hierophant. If you compare the Hierophant with a female energy, it would be that of a high priestess. So he's using his intuition to a large extent in the external world to pick up the frequencies and the vibrations that he can now sense, he can now gather, he can now understand, because his intuition is working for him externally, although he is holding a very masculine energy in the external world, so people do not get him to be soft or mushy or can tramp over him and do things. No, he's not allowing that to happen. Okay, now this card is ruled by Taurus, guys. So it could be a very Taurian energy. He's putting up a brave front. At the end of the day, externally, he's trying to put up a brave front, trying to show people that he is still holding the fort. But his intuition is also working for him, where he's picking up the vibes, the sensations, the words, the stories, the experiences, and he's slowly healing and breaking free from those experiences, from those values, from those traditions, from those morals, from those ethics to rewrite his own future. Externally, too, guys. Okay, let's take an after tarot here. Yes, he's leaving behind the Six of Cups in the reverse, guys. And he's doing that because he's leaving behind the old values. He's leaving behind the old ancestral patterns. He's leaving behind everything else that, had taken away his happiness, his joy, and had given him back nothing but an empty cup. Okay, so he's picking up all those vibrations from the external world to leave behind those he deems is right for him to break free from at this point in time, guys. Okay, so externally, internally, he's doing a lot of work, guys. Let's take a connecting card between the external and the internal in here just to see how the energies are working for him at this moment with regards to the external and the internal self work. Too many cards in here. Please give me one clarifier connecting card between the external and the internal world. There you go. He's the king of sword. He's the king of sword. He's taking control. And how he's taking control is by rising up, by breaking free, by killing all the old energies of pain, hurt, grief, sorrow, everything, to let the sun shine back in his internal and external self, guys. And that's your connecting card. He's taken the sword. He's King Solomon. He's the policeman. He's ruling these decisions of breaking free with his head over his heart. He's not doing that emotionally. The king of sword is not an emotional person. He is a very logical and a rational person, a very spiritual person, guys. Okay, and he's the divine masculine at this point in time is using his masculine energy, he's using his spiritual energy, he's using his rational mind, not his emotions, to kill everything else, to break free from the pattern, to rise above and beyond of the from the place that he had been sitting in for a very long time, guys. Okay, so he is doing a lot of work. He's strategizing, he's breaking free, he's taking things under his control, he's using his sword of truth and wisdom. But at the same time, he's taking decisions from the head over his heart to kill everything, to let himself rise above, to bring justice back into his own zone, to rewrite his own future, to heal from the past wound, to break free from the ancestral patterns. And that is exactly how he's working towards his internal and external self, ladies. Now, here we come to the third part of the story, which is his physical self, guys. Okay, now in the physical self, again, he's got two cards in here. Okay, and the coins over here is the pentacles in the other tarot, but in this tarot it's called the coins in here, so obviously it's coins in here for us too. Okay, now in the physical self, in his physical self, he's got two cards again. He's got the Hanged Man in the upright, and he's got the Two of Coins in the reverse in here. Okay, so he's getting the inspiration, guys. Okay, he's getting his waking up. With the Hanged Man, it's all about patience, but at the same time it's all about awakening. It's all about, in the physical sense too, in the physical, in his own physical self, he is waking up to the call of the divine inspiration, because he knows that in his own physical self he might not be healing, he's not feeling well. There is a lack of loss of balance. There is a very big time trauma, disorganized, overwhelmed self that he's holding within himself in the physical. Okay, but at the same time, with the Hanged Man here in the upright, he knows that it's all there. He's got no balance. He's very disorganized. He's extremely overwhelmed with everything that has been happening in his life. Okay, but at the same time, he's understanding the reason as to why all this has happened. And that's where the Hanged Man comes in. And the Hanged Man is telling him to have patience, to wake up first, to get inspired first, to break free from the old patterns. And that's when things are going to get organized for him. Things are going to come back for him in balance. He will start to heal. He will start to feel better. And he will start to look better, guys. Okay, so he's doing double work in here, because double work is because he's again breaking free. With the Hanged Man in here, he's breaking free from all that had been keeping him trapped, keeping him enclosed, keeping him chained, keeping him locked. He's getting inspiration from divinity to break free from the past 7 generations of his karma. And when he can do that, when he can come to that complete place of healing by himself, of that inspiration that is going to heal him, that's when things are going to get back into balance in his self as well, where he will feel more organized, where he will not be overwhelmed with any situation, because right now, in his physical sense too, the scales are off balance, guys. There is no justice in here. He doesn't have any justice in his personal self too, because he is in the process of doing the healing. So at this moment, in his personal self, in his physical self, sorry, he doesn't have any balance right now. There is no justice in his physical self. Okay, so let's take after tarot for this. And yes, Ace of Wand in the reverse. That's what the divine wants him to do. Start waking up, start growing, start looking for the new inspiration, start looking for your new activity to rewrite your future. Because you do have a lack of energy. He does have a lack of energy right now. He has a lack of passion in his self, physical self. He has a lack of energy. He's bored with whatever is going on in his life at this point in time, but he has to wake up soon. To transform this energy into a much better energy, he will have to wake up and move his self in the right direction for him to come back from the place of being sick, of being tired, of being overworked, of being stressed out, of not having healed, of whatever, to come back and get the inspiration to move forward, to take his energy to move forward, because right now he's not in a state, his physical self is not permitting him that energy, because he he is extremely tired, guys. Extremely tired, because he's still doing the internal work, right? So in the physical self, his energy has been drained, because of the internal healing, because of the breaking of the pattern, that all that he's going through. He's not getting the inspiration to run right now after anything. So that's going to take him time, guys. So bear with him, give him that space, give him the time, give him that this is the moment of his life that he has to work only for himself, even to get his energy back, even to get his vitamin D back, anything that is lacking in his zone at this moment in time, guys. Let's take a connecting card between his internal, external, and his physical self in here, guys. Too many cards. Yeah, so physically he's not doing too great, ladies. He's not at this point in time, at least. Because internally, externally, in every respect, he is fatigued, he's tired. There is a lack of inspiration, because you guys, there is nobody around him to encourage him, to inspire him, to give him that motivation to move, that energy, the drive that he needs now. Unfortunately or fortunately, that's what the universe is wanting him to do. Face the music alone, guys. There you go. The star card. That's the connecting card in here. He has to heal. And that's what he's doing. Internally, externally, and in the physical self, he's healing. It's bringing his ambitions, his desire, everything. He's asking, he's praying, he's trying to balance things in his own way, internally, externally, physically, so that he can manage to move in the right direction once he is completely healed in his own way. Okay? Excuse me. Because he is doing a lot of work in this zone, guys. Lot of work, ladies. Bear with him, please. Bear with him. Okay? Now, let's go to the spiritual self in here. Okay? In the spiritual self, he's got the Seven of Pentacles or the Seven of Coins. So, spiritually, he is looking at the harvest, guys. He's looking at what he has got so far, what he has lost so far, how big the harvest has, how big the rewards the harvest has reaped for him, all the hard work that he did, all the diligence that he worked with, all the perseverance that he had in his own way to keep things afloat for himself and for his community. Ultimately, what is the result? That is what the question is with the Seven of Pentacles in here for him. And also, he knows that spiritually he has to wait now because he has to put a new harvest in place. Because the old harvest has not yielded him any result. And he can see that because he's going back and forth between his old harvest and the one that he is about to start or will be starting, taking stock of the situation in here, to what he has gained, to what he has lost, to what he can further, how he can move forward. With the arrows in here, in this deck, if you see the card in here, you have the arrows pointing straight up. He's taking stock of the situation as to how he can move his arrows through all the different spheres of his life to bypass everything else towards going for his own harvest, towards rewriting his own future, towards healing himself, towards breaking free from the ancestral pain and trauma that was perhaps not even his own, but unfortunately he had been carrying that as a cross on his shoulders, guys. Okay, so he's kind of evaluating, he's kind of taking time spiritually to understand how he can move up, how he can throw his arrows upwards, how he can get the momentum going through whatever the loss and the pain, through whatever the suffering and the trauma that he had to live with for a very long time. But at the same time, he knows it's a waiting game. He cannot do that instantly because spiritually he is aware that, he doesn't want to do anything wrong for anybody, but at the same time, he has to break free, which is going to take him a little bit of time. And that's the waiting game for him in the spirited time spiritually, guys. Let's take an after tarot. And yes, look at that. The Ace of Cups. And he's doing that because now he's coming to the realization that he has to bring back his lost love. The heart on the fist, on the palm, if you see. And there is a bird that is flying over the heart in here to fill the Ace of Cups with love, with love, with love. Look at the big blossoming red heart right in the center of the card underneath, and there is the cup that the heart will be dropping into once the cup is filled with love. Okay, so that's what he's doing spiritually. He's working towards bringing back his love, guys, in the right way, in the right way. But for that, he knows it will take him time. He will have to hold his fort until that time happens, but it will come to him because he is working up, he is pushing himself up, he is throwing himself up to break the old karma, to heal himself, to rewrite his own future, guys. Okay, so spiritually too, look at the way he is working, guys. Look at the way he's doing. Now we come to the point which is the center of your reading, which is the financial part of the story, the Six of Swords, guys. Okay, so with the Six of Swords, it's moving in the traditional tarot. It's moving away into the calm water. It's taking you away from the emotional baggages to move away into the calm water. So, financially, too, if you look at this from the traditional point of view, financially, too, he's moving himself away, guys, into the calm water, relieving himself of the excess load of baggage, of garbage, I would say more so than baggage, of garbage that he was holding because of financial reasons. Because he was the one, if you see here, the card in here, I go with the interpretation of the card. This is the main sword, and then you have all the other sword which is sticking into the main sword here, which is telling me that for so long everybody had been pumping into his sword, into his main financial sword, and taking things away. There are 5 swords in here. So there could be 5 people, there could not be 5 people, doesn't matter. But he was the main one that was carrying the burden of this finances on himself. He was holding the sword, guys, but everybody had been feeding off that one sword for a very long time. For a very, very long time, guys. And that was again an ancestral pattern that he is going to be breaking free from in this period in time. He won't let parasites enter his zone again. People who are going to take advantage of his own sword, that he had built with his hard work, with his dedication, with his, loyalty, and everybody else had been feeding off that sword from him. That is what he's moving out from. He's taking leave from that kind of parasite claims to his finances. Could be third party obligations, karmic relationships, anything. But people who had been kind of living off his own earnings, all the earnings that he had made for himself, and the other people had been coming over to feed and fend from his earnings, guys. That is what he is relieving himself of financially at this point. He's not going to just let people get away with that kind of things. He's not going to give just like that, just because somebody wants it from him and he's going to throw money at their doorstep. That's not going to happen anymore, guys. Look at the way his energies are changing. So he's moving away. He wants things. He wants to build finances for himself now, going into the calm waters. But at the same time, he's not going to let other people attack his own financial burden for their own self-interest. He's moving away from that. He's taking his leave from that kind of a situation, guys. Okay, let's take an after tarot. Yes, Knight of Cups. There you go. And this is what he's doing because he's following his heart, guys. He's a romantic person at heart and he wants to give it to you, Divine Feminine. He wants to save it for you. He's looking at right now with this after tarot, his cup is not filled. If you see the card in here closely, the knight is on the horse. The horse has one of his legs up, ready to gallop, is moving slowly. But at the same time, the knight at this point in time knows that his cup is empty. He's like picking it up and looking at the inside to see what is there in there. Nothing much. Even if he has anything much, it's really not visible, guys. Okay, so the reason now you see, excuse me. So now you see why he is walking away, because he wants that cup to be filled. He wants that cup to be filled to offer it back to you, Divine Feminine, because you are the person who deserves it, and he knows that. He knows that. But right now, he has to first fill that cup with love, with money, with jewelry, with whatever, with emotions, okay? Excuse me, with whatever. But he has to fill that cup before he can offer you a full cup. He doesn't want to give you a half empty cup or an empty cup. No, he doesn't. And that's why he is looking at it closely to monitor, to see how he can fill that cup in the coming days so that once he returns back, he can give you at least a three-fourth filled cup, even if it's not filled completely, guys. Okay, so let's take a connecting card between the spiritual self and the financial self in here. Let's take a card, a connecting card between the spiritual and the financial self, because everything is connected. Everything is linked. Everything, you cannot overlook or override one to take hold of the other. And there you have the temperance card sticking right out at our own faces in here. That's what he's balancing spiritually and financially, guys, because that's what he needs to balance now. He needs to balance his harvest of love, he needs to balance his cup of love and money and emotions too. So he is balancing because nothing is filled. His spiritual self is empty. His money part is also not, if not completely, but kind of empty. So, in order to bring them both back together in harmony, he will have to find a middle path to balance the spiritual and the financial self, guys. Okay, very important for him now. Very important. And that is what he's doing at this point in time, ladies. On his personal, in his personal self, guys, which could be his home, his domestic life, personal self, where he lives, personally where he resides, or personally what he is doing, or what he's kind of feeling, is death. Is death. There is no two ways about it, guys. Personally, whatever he had been holding on to, what he thought would bring him happiness, like the internal self, like the external self, like the physical self, like the spiritual self, like the financial self, has all created nothing but a baggage of garbage. And that is today has transcended into death, guys. Complete death. Okay, let's take an after tarot here. And that is where he is working with the Seven of Swords energy. It could be a little bit deceptive, manipulative, whatever you might want to say this is. But he wants to move away from that. He wants to take only so much. He wants to take his money. He wants to take his own earnings, whatever. He wants to go back to you to bring back his love. But from his personal self, he doesn't have much to take. But whatever he has, he wants to take that and move away. And move away. And if I see that in my own way, I would say that's what the Knight of Cups is looking at the Seven of Swords here through the cup. Okay? Asking him to take that money, whatever it is there for him, to take that, to put it in his own pocket, and to walk away from the enemy camp. And that's what, through the cup, he is looking at the Seven of Swords in here to let this person know, the divine masculine, guys, that just don't move away empty handed. Just don't leave everything because everything has been dead or is has like it's an RIP sign over that personal front. But still, whatever you have inside of that personal front is your money part of the story. Please take that and leave. Leave the two swords behind. Just a little bit left behind for them to survive if they have to. But take the other 5 swords and walk away. Take the bulk of your chunk of your money and walk away from that death situation. You don't need to be there. You don't need to be there anymore. Let's take a connecting card between the financial self and the personal self in here, ladies. Please give me a connecting card between the between the financial self and the personal self in here. Yeah, yeah. The Five of Cups and the reverse. Go forward, move forward. You have the two cups behind you. Take that and walk away. You don't need that grief anymore in your life. Everything is over, done, finished, RIP. Say alvida, goodbye. Do what you have to do, adieu, and move away from that zone. Take the two cups. You still have some money. You still have something left for your treasure. Take that treasure and walk away. And that's what the Knight of Cup, through his cup, is looking out at this man in here and is seeing that what he can actually take, how much he has, he can actually come take those and bring it back to fill that cup. And he still has two cup left, guys. Everything is not lost. So he's been asked to leave the dented cups behind, the three cups behind, leave the two sword behind for those who have to survive, and take the five sword and take the two cups and walk away. That's what he has been told, to break free, to heal himself, to rewrite his own future, guys. Wow. Wow. I had to say a wow. I'm sorry, but even I'm in a trance. Okay. Now, professionally, look at him. Whoever is working in the divine masculine group, okay, and what with whoever it is resonating. In the professional front, he is turning into an emperor, guys. And he's also got the Three of Wands in here. So, Three of Wands is thinking big, envisioning ideas, bringing structure, bringing control, being the emperor in here. And being the emperor, he's thinking big, guys, in the professional front. Okay, he wants to better himself now. He wants to bring back his authority. He wants to bring back his control. He wants to think big. He wants to travel. He's waiting for the ships in the professional front to come into his harbor, from where he can sail smooth and straight out from the garbage into the clear ocean, guys. Okay, so in the professional front, he's definitely thinking big. He's definitely making big plans, you know. He's not, the rest of the story could be the disaster, but in the professional front, he's taking care to see that he at least gets something out of the professional front at this point in time. So he is an emperor. He's looking out. If you see the emperor in here, the card came like this. So he's thinking big. He's taking control of his authority. He's getting into a structured regime. He's looking after his own need, because he's the emperor who is also capable of working with a team of people, taking care of his kingdom in the most justified way, to not do anybody any harm, but to see justice that should come rolling down, even to the people, to his subordinates, to whosoever is working under him. But at the same time, he is also thinking and making big plans for his future through his earnings in the professional front, as to how he can, save, what he can do, how he can invest, what are the investments that he can make with the money that he's earning at this point in time. So he's making plans, he's waiting for his ships to come into the harbor, but he's definitely thinking big. He's trying to do justice to himself, to his other people, whoever is surrounding him at this point in time in the professional front, to give him the best, being the emperor when it comes to justice, and at the same time taking care of making his plans a big success story by thinking big, by thinking out of the boundary, by working for himself to invest in the future that would reap benefits towards him and for his divine feminine, guys. Okay, let's take an after tarot first. And here, look, oh my goodness, Goodness. Queen of Wand, guys, that's you, Divine Feminine. Look at the investment that he's going to do is for you. Emperor and the Queen of Wand for in his professional front, guys. Look at this. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Holy moly. And he's thinking big because he wants to reap, because other places he doesn't have much to give you from the other quarters, right? Whatever he has, he will definitely give you. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have much to give you from the from the reserve that he has. He will definitely give you. But his main source of income is coming to him from his work situation. And that is what he is going to offer you in the coming days once he gets things aligned and in the straight fashion, breaking himself free, healing himself, and rewriting his future with you, Queen of Wands, guys. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my God. This is so sweet. Okay. So that's what it is now with him. Okay. Now let's take the next one in here, which is the psychological self. In his psychological self, guys, Divine Feminine, he has three cards. He has the Sun in the reverse. He has the Eight of Cups in the reverse. And he has the King of Cups. Okay. So basically, psychologically, guys, he wants to break free, but he's scared at this point because he has not completely healed himself. Okay, the Eight of Cups in the reverse is the fear of moving on. Psychologically, it's nothing but psychological problem. Okay, to plan everything, to leave the comfort zone, to make a move. But at the same time, he is scared of that, to make the move, because he's not yet ready. He's breaking free from the old patterns. He's breaking free from the old chains, from his ancestral karma. He's rewriting his future. As I told you, it's going to take him time. But at the same time, he knows that when he does move, it's going to bring him back his emotions in the right spirit. He's going to get his cups filled with love, as well as the sun that's going to shine on him once he manages to leave this garbage, psychological garbage, behind him, guys. Okay, so that is what he is still fighting with. He's still working on to get a clear hold of relieving himself psychologically from all that fear, from all that indecisions of staying put in the place that he has been staying put. But at the same time, at this moment, from 6th to the 16th, he definitely knows once he moves what will happen. Once he is psychologically free, he will be the King of Cups with his intellect and his emotions in place. Plus, that will make the sun shine. Plus, that will bring him back all his love and happiness. But psychological battle is definitely this battle. Break the chain. Okay? And that is the chain that he is breaking at this point in time, guys. It's going to take him time. Please be with him. Don't rush him. Don't, kind of invade his space at this moment, because he is definitely working hard, even psychologically, to break free from this pattern, from this existence of his karma that he has been kind of facing and waging war with his past karma, guys. Okay, so psychologically he is scared at this moment because he still doesn't know that once he moves what's going to happen. And then psychologically he is still kind of in that state of dilemma. But at the same time, he does knows when things happen, when things work out for him, he will be the King of Cups and he will get the sun back in his life. But it's going to take him time to break free from that old pattern, guys, in psychological state. Okay, and the After Tarot is telling him to once he does this, once he breaks free, he will be moving like the Knight of Wands, guys. He will take his flight. He will fly. He will be adventurous. He will be fearless. He will be on the red horse, all ready to go. Take off time. Okay? 1, 2, 3. The bugle has sounded. And then once he is free, He knows, and that's what the after tarot is telling you. He will just take his flight towards his destination, guys. But till he is psychologically free, he will not be able to ride this red horse. It will take him time. He will have to become fearless. He will have to accept the fearlessness in him. He will have to prove to you, divine feminine, that he can do what you think he can do. But that's going to happen once he is able to clear his psychological waste product, guys. Okay, and that's when he will move. Let's take a connecting card between his professional self and his psychological self, guys. Okay, his professional self and psychological self. Let's take a connecting card between the two. And there you go. I've got two cards in here. That it is. To end all the battles. The Five of Wands. The competition. Okay. He doesn't want that competition anymore. He wants to finish that between professional and psychological. He wants to finish that tough competition because he might have been competing with others. It was giving him trouble. He was not. If you're competing with yourself, it's definitely a healthy competition. But if you're not, if you are competing with others to prove yourself to be the best, you had failed miserably, and he knows that. Between his professional and his psychological state, he knows that mistake, that he had been engaged in that kind of a battle zone for no rhyme or reason, and that had kind of given him trouble in the past and is still giving him trouble in the present. So he wants to rush forward, guys, but once he has ended that battle, once that competition, that rivalry in his workplace is ended, once a conflict is ended, once a competition is ended, and which he is doing because he is engaging in the Queen of Cups activity, who it can be you at the same point in time, divine feminine, or it can be him who has morphed into his intuition. From his subconscious self, he knows that for him, to get rid of his psychological waste, he will have to improve his professional front. To make that money, to do that investment, to bring everything into the cup, the dreams that he has for the future with you. For that, he has to be a very smart person. Not street smart, but right smart, guys. Okay, and that he has understood that for him to rush forward, to be the Knight of Wands, he has to end the battle, he has to end that conflict in his professional zone, in his psychological zone, and he has to dream of the big good stuff that's going to come to him, to keep it in the cup, a cup in him, from his subconscious state, because the Queen of Cups is equivalent to, she is a suit card, but from the major arcana, she is equivalent to the high priestess, guys. Okay, so he's using his intuition very much clearly to end the conflict, to end the rivalry, to end the competition, so that it allows him to move forward towards you, divine feminine, from your personal zone, thinking big, making plans for the future, being the emperor, as well as getting rid of the psychological waste, to move forward, to clear this area of this fight, the conflict, the battle, the the loss of everything that he has been doing between his psychological and his professional front. So that is what he is trying to clear up before he can move in the right direction, where he gets his stability to understand that it is okay for him to take his leave from whatever the dirt and the muck that he had been sitting in for a very long time, guys. Now, emotionally is my last card in here. He's got the Five of Wands in the reverse, emotionally. And he's got the Fool in the reverse, guys. Okay? So, with the Five of Wands again, the Five of Wands here. Look here. In his emotional state, he's ending this battle. He doesn't want this anymore. He doesn't want this fight, the conflict, the rivalry. Emotionally, he's putting an end to it because he is somewhat a high priestess in the psychological place, guys. Okay, so he's ending, he's rewriting the pattern, he is healing himself emotionally to begin the new journey. But at this point in time, he is the fool in the reverse, which is telling him to be very careful as he walks along the way. Okay, not to make any mistakes in this point emotionally, because if he makes any mistakes emotionally, psychologically, financially, or materialistically, or personally, or professionally, or spiritually, he will not be able to rewrite his future. So he is on the brink of rewriting his future, of beginning another chapter in his life, and that is why he is emotionally ending all conflict, all rivalry, all competition to clear his own zone so that he can move forward in the right direction. Let's get an after tarot for the emotional. And look here, the Queen of Pentacles. Oh my Lord, all the queens in the twin flame journey is you, divine feminine, guys. You have got the Queen of Cups, you've got the Queen of Wands, you've got the Queen of Pentacles. It's only the Queen of Sword I'm missing out here. I believe he doesn't look at you. I mean, he looks at you as the Queen of Sword, but right now he's the King of Sword himself, so he's okay. Too many swordy energies will create havoc. So right now he looks at you as the Queen of Wands, he looks at you as the Queen of Cups, he's looking at you as the Queen of Pentacles. He wants to start the new beginning with you, ladies. Please understand this. And this is the reason he is ending all emotional conflict. He's making plans, he's holding the pentacles up. It's taking him time to grow. Pentacles are the longest time, they take the longest time to grow, but he's doing a self reflection here on himself, looking at the pentacle, which is reflecting his own self, that he wants to reflect you. Both of you guys are mirroring each other at this point in time. Divine feminines, you all are both mirroring each other, for whatever he is doing in his present times is what is reflecting, and vibrations are being sent as mirror images to either side of the same coin, guys. It's the either side of the same coin here. Okay, so that is what it is. Everything about the divine masculine is beautiful. Let's take a connecting card between his psychological state and his emotional state in here to see the connection between the two in here. Oopsie. Okay. Yeah, look. Oh my God. The Queen of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles in the reverse. And that's what he is juggling with the Two of Pentacles in here as to how he can meet you with his standard in the same way. Because you are the Queen of Pentacles for him, guys. He has to reach you being the King of Pentacles. And that is the reason he's juggling with the Two of Pentacles, which is upright in here. He's juggling between being you, just like you, to be just like you, because right now he's not being able to do that, but he's struggling to bring that back in his own self so that he can meet you in the right way, on the right platform, in an equal give and take relationship with a mirror image. That is, as I told you, it's a mirror image in here. And look, just as I said, it's a mirror image in here for you ladies, guys. Okay, so that is what it is at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching me, especially ladies, love you guys. Take care. God bless you. Goodbye. Khuda Hafiz and Namaste.